It is Taco Tuesday, and we are here for another episode of Let's Bet It. Happy Tuesday, guys. Lauren Jabbar here with Jared Smith. My hair is crazy today because we let it dry natural. You want to know what else is crazy? Is that this week, college football starts, and next week, NFL starts. I am so excited, Jared. It feels like Christmas, doesn't it? Or like Christmas Eve. Like a few eves before Christmas Eve.
Yeah, something like that. I love your hair today.
Yeah.
I think it looks great. I mean, I can't
Thank
match you
you.
with my length or depth or I don't know what the words that the hairdressers use, but I'm sure it's full, luscious. That's what the schedule has been like the last few days. So this is I think this week and next week are like the two most like difficult weeks because it really is. We have to refocus our brains completely to where we didn't have football every week. And it's like this thing that's hanging out there waiting for us to dive into. I'm thrilled. I'm excited. Penn State plays in 48 hours. Not really 48 hours, like
that's crazy.
6 hours, but very soon, 2 days from now, Thursday, Penn State plays. I'll be very excited for that game. And then, week 1, college football. I've already got a bet locked in, too, for week 1 this Saturday.
Let's do it. I know. I love to see you love it. I love to see it. You love to see it. And we love to see college football. We're going to be getting into a lot of our football bets Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, obviously, with that right around the corner. And then we're deep diving into NFL. But speaking of NFL, we got a lot of news to go over today. So the NFL top 20 players were revealed yesterday. Some notable ones from that list. Tom Brady, obviously the GOAT, number 1. Cooper Kupp finished at number 4. Jonathan Taylor, no surprise, at number 5. Patrick Mahomes at number 8. I thought he would be a little bit higher on the list. Josh Allen at 13. I also thought he would be higher on the list. And then Micah Parsons at 16. What was the biggest surprise to you, Jared, out of these top 20 in what you've seen?
Who voted for this award for these players?
I don't know. I honestly don't even know who votes on these things.
And like, what are the criteria? Because you have to, like, for example, like if you want to talk about the top 20 players, you would assume that the MVP criteria would kind of be part of this. And I'll be honest,
NFL players, Jared, are voting on this. The NFL players choose which NFL players are the top 20, and they just don't like Josh Allen because he kicked their ass all year.
Clearly not.
The last couple.
Or Patrick Mahomes. Because I think now I don't know who's 5, 6, and 7 between Cooper Kupp and Patrick Mahomes. But I'll be honest, I don't see how Cooper Kupp is ahead of Patrick Mahomes on this list. That's just my personal opinion. I don't see how Josh Allen is. Name the 12 players that are better than 13. Josh Allen. Like I can't name 12 players better than. I can name a couple of players that maybe are on the same level as Josh Allen, but I can't name 12 players that are better than Josh Allen. That is a difficult stretch. That's a stretch for me.
Here, let's talk about who is above these players. My computer is loading right now, but I do have the list right here. Okay, so between Cooper Kupp and Patrick Mahomes, we have Devontae Adams at 7. We have TJ Watt at 6. We have Jonathan Taylor at 5. And then Cooper Kupp at 4.
I can't.
Number 3, Aaron Rodgers.
Don't matter as
number
much
2,
today, right?
Aaron Donald is number 2.
I can get behind that. I think Aaron Donald is the best defensive player in the league. So for him to be second on the list, I can't argue that. To me,
so now get this.
Cooper Kupp is. What do you got?
Get this. Before Josh Allen, we have Jalen Ramsey at 9. We have Travis Kelce at 10. We have, 11 through 20 is loading. It is still loading. We have, let me scroll down on this list. This is live television, people. Myles Garrett at 11. Then we have Derrick Henry at 12, and then we have Josh Allen at 13.
That's absurd. Listen, Derrick Henry, MVP, has all the credentials, but you can't tell me that a running back is more valuable in today's NFL than a quarterback. I'm sorry. There is no argument there.
Of an arm and legs like Josh Allen has.
There is no argument for a running back to be ahead of a quarterback to the level of Josh Allen. You want to say Derrick Henry's better than Trevor Lawrence or, a mid-level quarterback? Okay, I can at least wrap my head around that. But you're talking about a guy that is, I think Josh Allen is, if not the favorite, amongst the favorites to be MVP. I cannot get behind a running back being that far in front of him. That seems wrong. Josh Allen has a beef. And that means he's going to have a great year. I'd be pissed if I was looking at this list and I was Josh Allen, because it's your peers that are voting this. It's not the biased media. It's your friends in the league. This is now again,
do you want to know?
Doesn't matter at the end of the day, no, but it's a motivating factor, I would say, for Josh Allen to look at this list.
No, that's what I was going to say, is it adds a little bit more of a chip on his shoulder heading into this season, because I know we're going to get to it in a little bit, the teams that we think are going to go from worst to first, and then also the teams that we would stake our flag in. And mine may or may not be the Bills because of one guy and one guy only, and his name starts with a J and ends with an Osh, and I'll let you guess who it is. And we're going to get into that in a second, but before we do, a guy that's not on the top 20 list, rightly so, Jimmy Garoppolo, because he reworked his 49ers deal. Pretty exciting for him. 1-year deal worth $6.5 million, fully guaranteed, and incentives that could raise this contract to a max of $16 million. No trade, no tag clause. Jimmy G is going to be an unrestricted free agent after this season. How does that work with Trey Lance, who at this point is going to be starting under center? What do you think in your mind that Jimmy G is thinking right now? Going to be sitting on the bench, being the backup to Trey Lance.
I think Jimmy was thinking to himself, a known commodity at this point is better than the unknown. And he probably looked at the deal and said, okay, I'm going to make this much guaranteed to be a backup. And it's going to allow me to be a full-fledged free agent next year. Now, I'll be honest. I think this is a win-win for both sides. And it's rare that happens in the NFL when there's a dispute, when there's I think I'm worth this, I think I should be playing this, and then the other side is obviously not in agreement. It seems like this is a win-win, because let's be honest, Trey Lance is a unknown commodity. We have and I think the Niners think that as well, and I think the Niners viewed his preseason as probably not up to snubbed with what they wanted. And they said, hey, listen, we're going to bring back Jimmy, and we're going to put him as the backup, and he's going to be our insurance policy. And I think it's very fair, honestly. I think both sides get a win here, because Jimmy now gets to be a full-fledged free agent next year, and he gets guaranteed money this year. And there's an incentive to where if he plays, he's going to get more money. So, I applaud both sides. I think John Lynch and his team did a great job in getting this done. And I applaud Jimmy for removing the ego from the equation and saying, I'm willing to come back and, be the number two.
At a certain point, you're making $6.5 million. There's no ego that needs to be involved in that. That's a crap.
Oh, there's always an ego with these guys. There's an ego.
If someone was like, hey, Lauren, you're going to make $6.5 million to sit on the bench.
Well,
okay.
You've never made that money before. Jimmy's used to making that kind of money. So it's a drop in the bucket for him. Well, this entire argument was Jimmy doesn't want to be the backup. He wants to be the starter. So Jimmy finally agreed to be the backup. And I think that's why this moved forward.
Jimmy G is going to be backing up that B. That's all we got to say about that. But teams that we're moving on for, and I know we're on agreement in this, Jared. We're going to get into some NFL predictions that we have this season. Let's start it out with teams that we can see going from worst to first, because I know we're in agreement. I have actually 3 teams. One of them, they're not going to be first in the league, but they're on the right path. And you're going to say that maybe I'm a little bit biased. I'll get into that team in a second.
Probably.
But I know that we're both in agreement with a team like the Baltimore Ravens. No team last season, Jared, was hit harder with injuries than the Ravens. Now they're the favorites to win the AFC North after tying for last place. Lamar Jackson missed the last 4 games of the season. They lost the last 6 games as a team. It was a sub 500 season for only the second time in John Harbaugh's 14 years at the helm of that team. And I know the Bengals look like they're there to stay, but the Ravens they're barking at the heels. And if Lamar is anywhere close to his 2019 league MVP form and they avoid the injuries, the health issues that they had last year, they can be a top candidate to legitimately go from worst in the league to first in the league. And a lot of that had to do with not the lack of talent that they had as a team, but just all of the hard hits that they took last season.
Yeah, and listen, you want to talk about the Ravens' success. Defense wins championships. I mean, this was a team that has been a defensive grinder for basically the entire length of this recent run that they've been on. But last year they were 27th in defensive efficiency. That is going to improve. I mean, you would hope, you would think. At least they tried to address that in the offseason. Justin Houston comes in from Indianapolis. They haven't gotten a lot out of Patrick Queen. And I think that's something that needs to be addressed. Because, again, when you think Ravens, you think linebackers, you think safeties, you think tough defensive lines. And that wasn't their persona last year. They were a little soft in that area. But, again, they bring in Justin Houston. They draft Owe, the kid from Penn State. And they try to get Calais Campbell back to his form. And they need to get more out of Patrick Queen, who was the first-round draft pick 2 years ago, who is now playing that weak side linebacker position that's been a little bit, again, weak, for lack of a better word, for this Ravens defense. Offensively, listen, they lose Marquise Brown. Lamar Jackson hopefully is healthy. They draft Tyler Linderbaum to shore up the offensive line. A lot of positive things with Baltimore in the offseason, I think, but under the radar of what happened last year and the contract issues that Lamar Jackson currently going through. I saw a lot of Twitter back and forth with him yesterday on the contract. So that's going to be a distraction this year. But in terms of upside, last place teams with the most upside, I mean, you're talking about Lamar Jackson, MVP of the league. You would expect there to be some positive regression there.
I know. And I have two other teams that are not necessarily going to be, excuse me, the best teams in the league. Well, maybe one of them will be. One of them is a little bit more of a biased bet, but I'm seeing some good progression from the franchise. I'll start with the Broncos, first of all. Russell Wilson makes them an instant contender, in my opinion. He's also going to be alongside a defense that gave up the third fewest points in the NFL last season. I know their division is brutal, and it got even worse. They added a lot of guys: Devontae Adams, Khalil Mack, Chandler Jones, J.C. Jackson. It also is worth mentioning that Mr. Mahomes and the Chiefs have 6 AFC West titles, and they've beaten the Broncos 13 straight times. But now the Broncos have a legit quarterback after, I don't know, going through 11 starters, 11, since Peyton Manning has retired. They actually have a legit chance this season. They have some pretty good wide receivers. They have good running backs. Their defense is still solid like it was last season. They just didn't have the offense to be able to complement it last year. And now you had a guy like Russell Wilson. How many more wins does he get this team? I don't know. I'm not extremely high on them, but it could be a team worth watching in terms of not necessarily going from worst to first in the NFL, but maybe just making huge strides of progress, at least in their division. Another team, and this is more of a heart pick, but I'm just saying, the Detroit Lions are feeling pretty good heading into this season, okay? They have the longest NFC division title drought. They haven't finished at the top of the NFC North since 1993. I was a puny 1 year old last time they finished top of the division. Okay, I know.
It's been a while.
They're a scrappy team.
It's been a while.
I know. It's been a minute, okay? As you like to say. But they have a guy like Dan Campbell at the helm of this team. He's the heartbeat. This guy is out on the field doing up and downs with his players. Which other head coach in the entire league is doing up and downs with their players during training camp? But you look at their record last season. I know it wasn't great. They didn't win many games. They were 11-6 against the spread in 2021. That's saying something. They're heading in the right direction for the first time in a really long time after watching this team very closely for the last 29 years of my life. I know the NFC North crown is probably still out of reach. There's the Packers, there's Aaron Rodgers, and Vikings, who could have probably hit double digits last season. But I like the direction that they're heading, and hopefully they're going to be in contention soon. I think that they could have a winning record this season. I really do. Maybe not like far above 500, but 500 is attainable. Above 500 may be attainable. But I like the direction that they're heading for the first time in a really long time. One other thing we have to talk about, the team that we're staking our flags in, Jared. This is the team that you're picking and riding. They're going to be your ride or die. They're your OG throughout the entire 22-23 season. Who is that team for you?
Yeah, I'll give you a little context first. So I did drop a column on Pickswise.com yesterday about NFL futures. We have been riding the Jets and the Eagles over win totals the whole summer. We sold on the Jets yesterday. We made a little money, just a little bit, just like 2.5% ROI, which again, just a little. Listen, 2.5% ROI, considering the Jets win total the last 10 years is not much higher than 2.5%. I feel good about that bet. The other bet that we made back in May, we've discussed it at length, is the Eagles over 8.5 wins. And that has been a consistent positive mover in the market for us all summer. 8.5 wins has now turned into 9.5 wins with juice to the over. There is a lot of buzz happening in Philly right now. And the reason why I think this is something that is going to continue is because you look at the division they play in. Giants down, Commanders down, Cowboys just lost their right tackle. Who knows what that is going to look like now with Dallas's offensive line, which is going to strengthen.
Already in preseason. It's crazy.
100%. And I look at this Eagles team, and I love what they did in the offseason with A.J. Brown. I love what they did in the draft, getting the kid from Georgia. And I think there's Jordan Davis's name. I think there's just a lot positive with this Eagles team, and they play in a division that I think is very up for grabs. There isn't this team like, in the AFC West, it's the Chiefs. There isn't this team that is just the stalwart in the NFC East. It changes hands a lot. Washington won a couple years ago. So, again, I see Philly winning the NFC East. I see them going clearly over 8.5 wins, 9.5 wins. I think at this point, I think they get to 10. And I think this is a team that is going, and it's all about Jalen Hurts and his progression. But if that progression does happen, and if Nick Sirianni continues to push the right buttons, this is a Philly team, I think, that has a chance to be very successful this year. I love the defense. I love the weapons. I think the quarterback needs work, but I think he's very talented. And that's going to be kind of the linchpin here. Can Jalen Hurts take that step forward? But I'm planting my flag with the Eagles. Over 8.5 wins. I love that bet. I think it's going to go over 9, probably to 10. And I think Philly wins the NFC East this year. It may be a little bit of a surprise.
Absolutely. I actually really do love it. I love their draft. I love their team this season. I know my friends I have 2 guy friends that are Eagles fans. I know they're really pumped about the season. That's a good one. The team that I'm looking at, and I just said it a little bit earlier, and it's because of one guy and one guy only. His name starts with a J and ends with an Osh. Jared, can you take a guess at who it is?
Not Jared Smith, that's for sure.
It is definitely Jared Smith. No, it is the Buffalo Bills and a guy named Josh Allen. Yes, you guessed it right. This guy is the total package in terms of playmaking ability. You cannot teach a guy like this size. You cannot teach an arm like he has. It's a rocket. And you cannot teach the legs that he has when he's running the football. Like you could teach skill, but you can't teach body size. He's built like a freaking linebacker and he's playing quarterback. And then you look at guys like Stephon Diggs, Gabriel Davis, one of the best probably 1-2 punches in the nation. That helps my cause a little bit more. And then you look at the defense, absolutely loaded. There's difference makers at every single level. Micah Hyde, Jordan Poyer on the back end, Tre'Davious White on the outside. And then you add Von Miller off the edge. Are you kidding me? That's enough said for me. My best bet heading into this season is still the Bills to win the AFC West, or AFC East, and the Bucks to win the NFC South at plus money. Parlay them together. That's still my best bet heading into this season. I still feel really good about it. But the Bills are my team, ride or die. They're getting a lot of Super Bowl attention, rightly so. They're extremely talented. Josh Allen is extremely talented, and I think he's going to lead this team. I know they lost Brian Daboll. That's okay for me. I still think that the team has gelled enough together to be able to get things done and kind of know the system already. So I'm staking my flag in the Bills. I feel really good about them heading into this season. And I absolutely love Josh Allen. He is my fantasy quarterback. Enough said. That's all I got for you, Jared, on NFL. We're going to be breaking down a lot of NFL this week and then obviously next week heading into week 1. So stay tuned for that. A league that's been going on for a minute now. Major League Baseball, as we bring in Paul Sporer, writer for Fangraphs, to talk a little bit about the MLB slate heading into tonight. There's a lot of really good games on the schedule. One of them happening right here in Atlanta, the Braves taking on the Rockies. I'm excited for that one. Paul, how are you? Happy Tuesday.
I'm doing well. Happy Tuesday to y'all too. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for coming on. Okay, so our MLB segment, Jared knows, we always start with a segment called Is the Trend Your Friend? I'm going to give you guys a couple trends. I have 4 of them today. You tell me if you'd friend this trend, if you'd fade this trend, or if you're just passing and you don't even want anything to do with it at all. So I'll start with the first one. Rays money line. The Marlins are 0-15 in their last 15 against the AL East as an underdog. I know that's a lot of words in one trend, but 0-15 in their last 15 against the AL East as an underdog. Do you like the Rays money line? Are you friending it? Are you fading it? Or are you passing on it, Paul?
I think I'm going to friend it. Also, just because the Marlins are impossibly bad against lefties too, and they're facing Sugar Shane. So there's lots of ways to go with the Marlins being against the Marlins against the lefty.
Jared, how do you feel?
Yeah, I agree. Especially because Luzardo hasn't neither of these guys really have faced the other lineup a whole lot, which makes sense in an interleague matchup. Shane McClanahan, pretty young guy. So is Luzardo, haven't been around the league too long. So yeah, I think just the shock of the Marlins facing Shane McClanahan. And by the way, we haven't gotten official word on Justin Verlander's status. I don't want to declare the American League Cy Young race open again if Verlander misses the final month, but I ain't going to declare it closed if Verlander misses the entire month. So McClanahan, I would say, still has a breath of a chance to win based off of how that injury shakes out. So, yeah, he's got everything to pitch for tonight, even though the Rays are pretty much out of the playoff race, I think, at this point.
So is that a friend for you, Jared?
I lied, by the way. The Rays are not out of the playoff race. So, yeah, friend it.
I thought you were saying out as in – I thought you were saying out as though they're not like fighting that hard because they're kind of secured, which I would agree with more. But because I think that, they could lose out. Like there are teams that are chasing, but they have to feel comfortable among those wild cards right now. So they should still be pedal to the metal. McClanahan really shouldn't be limited. I could see like if they're dominating after 5, take him out, save a couple innings because the Marlins are so trash. I could see something like that with McClanahan. Be careful there if you're betting like a K prop or something. They're just so bad against lefties. Like it could be over pretty quickly there. And they could see this as an opportunity to downshift McClanahan just for this start.
I like it. Okay, so we have a couple friends heading into trend number 2. We're having a party today, Paul, on the show, okay? What about the Reds?
I heard your wonderful talk about the Lions, so I'm already coming in happy.
Let's go. I think that this is the year. They're winning the Super Bowl, baby.
Here we go.
We're idiots. We're idiots.
I'm wearing my blue for a reason. Just saying. Anyways, okay, the Reds, Cardinals over. The Cardinals have gone over in their last 5 games. Do you think this one goes over today?
Probably. I mean, they're in Cincinnati. That's a launching pad. You got Dakota Hudson on the other side there with St. Louis pitching that helps Cincy go over too. If you're trying to play the complete over, the 10 runs there, yes. Justin Dunn, Dakota Hudson, I'll play that over. Yes.
We have a friend, Jared. Do we have another one?
Tough to bet an over when the total's 10.
True.
That's like to me. And again, the pitchers clearly dictate this. The irony is the Nerfy is actually popping a little bit on my sheet today. And I had to play it just because you don't see plus 118 Nerfies too often in games not played at Coors Field.
True.
But I've seen plenty of games where the Nerfy hits, just like yesterday. In this game, Nerfy hits 13-4 final. Game goes way over.
It takes some time to get it going. Exactly.
Exactly. So, the pitching matchup here is Gas Can City, the lineups, the stadium, the trends, everything pointing towards an over. So I can't argue with that trend, and I can't argue with that pick.
Guys, we have 4 friends today already in 2 trends. You love to see this. Okay, 2 more for you. Both of them Nerfy trends. One of them, the Angels against the Yankees. No runs first inning. The Angels Nerfy is 14-0 in their last 14 games, Paul, against the AL East. 14-0.
Wow. Let's ride with it. Mike Myers, the
Let's
reliever,
ride, baby.
pitching pretty well of late too. The Yankees, believe it or not, last 30 in WOBA against righties, dead last in the league. I don't believe that that's going to necessarily hold. I would still be nervous of the Yankees, but I like it here. Let's go Nerfy in Anaheim.
Jared?
Yeah, so this Nerfy's not giving me like go bet it right now vibes when I look at my sheet. Tyone's numbers in the first inning are kind of mixed this year. Good batting average against, good whip, terrible FIP, not a great expected FIP. Myers, I don't have enough on him this year to really make a claim first inning wise. But the Yankees always scare me in a Nerfy because it's Aaron Judge and he's always going to hit in the first inning and he hit number 50 last night and this guy just keeps slugging it. So I would be a little more cautious here. This one would be more of an acquaintance. But Paul does make an excellent point about Mayers pitching well, and I think the trend clearly is pointing in that direction. But you got to face Trout, Ohtani, and Aaron Judge. You got to get through that gauntlet to win this Nerfy. That's tough. That's something point. I probably would be sweating very hard once this game starts.
3 of the best players.
You know what? I also sweat a lot when I bet the unders. Yeah. I also sweat a lot when I bet the unders too. So you know what? It's okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's worth it. You got to risk it for the biscuit. Okay. Last but not least, we have the Twins, Red Sox, Nerfy. The Twins 7-0 to the Nerfy in their last 7 against the AL East. Paul, how do you feel about it?
Wow.
That one's too scary. I can't do it. Cutter Crawford, double-digit hits in each of his last 2 outings, has really lost a lot. Chris Archer actually hasn't been too bad overall. Houston got him in the first inning, I believe it was, last game on that. So his margin for error is so slight. I'm gonna fade this one here. I'm not gonna friend this one. I'm swiping left.
Fading, swiping left, Jared.
I agree. I'm swiping left on this one too. Context, I bet the Yerfy yesterday. It lost. And I like the idea.
Yeah, because it wouldn't have been a trend if it won.
True.
It's true. I like the zigzag nature of these Yerfy Nerfy bets. I like fading things that I saw the day before, especially if some of the data backs it up. Cutter Crawford's numbers have been in a tailspin. He started out great. They haven't been great lately. His data is, I would say, average. Chris Archer's data, if you take the full body of work, I would say it's about average. And you have 2 above average lineups. And the Nerfy hit yesterday. So all of that to me is pointing Yerfy. And I think also Caleb Wolfinger, our Pickswise editor, is on the Yerfy today. He posted it on the site this morning. So all of those things are pointing Yerfy for me in this particular spot. So unfriend this one, LJ.
At least we have a couple friends heading into tonight. That's good to see. In terms of Yerfys and Nerfys, the Nerfy no-run first inning went 5-3 yesterday. If they're up 46.5 units since July 1st, that's pretty incredible. If you bet all Nerfys since July 1st, you're up 46.5 units. Jared, I know you have 2 Nerfys on the card today, so why don't you go through those, and then we'll head up over to Paul's picks, because I know that we have one of the same picks on the Kansas City Royals game too.
Yeah, I'll be brief because, again, these bets are brief, so I don't want to spend too much time on it. I told you St. Louis, Cincinnati was popping Nerfy on my sheet. I don't love anything about the handicap besides the number. At plus 118 over at Circa, you're getting a little – because, again, that is not a number that you see often for non-Coors Field Nerfies. So the total's high. It's high for a reason. Dakota Hudson and Justin Dunn haven't been great this year. Dunn's numbers are a little better than Hudson's, but again, both guys I would say below average, and you have slightly above average lineups. But again, the price dictates everything here, plus 118, implying only about a 45.5% hit rate. And I think this is more of a coin flip. So I'll take the plus 118. Not my favorite bet of the day, but again, the number dictates it. I do like the Nerfy in Seattle, Detroit. George Kirby, Matt Manning today. Matt Manning's numbers have been pretty good. 5-2 at the Nerfy rate. Yeah, and how about this? 14-0 at home since 2019 of the Nerfy for Matt Manning. So his stuff has been great. George Kirby getting his first look at this Tigers lineup. That favors the pitcher. I don't love him being on the road. I don't love his overall Nerfy numbers this year at just 11-7. But again, the data looks okay. And he's facing this Detroit lineup for the first time. A Detroit lineup that's very poor, below average scoring team at home in the first inning, just 26.5%. So, the numbers are what they are, Lauren. And only scored 5 times in 25 games this month. About 20% scoring rate for Detroit. That's kind of where it's been over the last month, and that's not very good. Seattle, I think, is the best chance to score here against Manning. Their rate has been high on the road, almost 30%. But they've only scored one time overall in their last 7 games. So I think Seattle's offense trending maybe a little bit down, even though overall their numbers have been good. The Detroit lineup, obviously not great. And I think we have 2 average pitchers here, maybe Matt Manning slightly above average. And I'm laying 20 cents at Circus. So I think it's a fair bet. Detroit, Seattle. Nerfy today over at Comerica. And sure,
a couple of Nerfies on the board for Jared. Yeah, and honestly, again, I'll just repeat those numbers. Since July 1st, if you bet all Nerfies, you're up 46.5 units. So 2 Nerfies for Jared on the board today. Paul, for you, a couple money lines and a pitching prop. Please walk us through your card for today.
So we talked about that Marlins-Rays game. I am going to look at the other pitcher, Jesus Luzardo, who is pitching well, so it could be a low-scoring game there. He could match McClanahan for a while. They're teasing us here with this strikeout prop, putting a huge juice on it, over 4.5 Ks at -175, but he's reached that in 9 of 11. So I am going to go ahead and take it. I shop around. Ideally, if I could find 5.5 somewhere, I'd be open to taking that too. He's looked excellent since coming off of the IL, so I like Luzardo's strikeout props. Tampa Bay is 8th in strikeout rate against lefties since July 1st too. So you definitely got that working for you. It could be a ton of strikeouts in that game with McClanahan too. You mentioned that I think you were hinting that you're on the Royals plus 115 here. I'm surprised. I'm surprised that this number is so good. Not that KC's awesome, but the White Sox aren't particularly awesome. And Brady Singer absolutely is. He's having a huge summer breakout. 2.14 ERA, 108 WHIP, 21% strikeout minus walk rate in his last 10. KC's 8-2 in those games too. So they're actually utilizing the quality work from Singer. He's been dominant against the White Sox this year. 2.01 ERA, 0.99 WHIP. 22% strikeout minus walk, 1 walk the entire time against them in 4 starts. The only time he lost against them, it was 10 singles. He got nickel and dimed a little bit there. So I love the Royals here, plus 115 against the White Sox. And then the Twins, minus 130. I mentioned Connor Crawford struggles. I'm not in on that Boston pitching at all. Starters, relievers, anything. Their offense is okay. Archer's been fine, though. If he can avoid that one problem inning, he should be all right. Boston's allowing 5.5 runs per game this month. And so I'm going to go Minnesota here, minus 130. I just think they're the better team by a decent margin, and that number should probably be higher. So I'm going to go ahead and take Minnesota.
I know. I'm also riding the Royals money line with you. That's actually my best bet of the day. So we'll get into that in a little bit. I know. We'll get into that in a little bit. The other one I was kind of looking at, I haven't bet it yet, but I'm leaning, is the Braves team total over 5, only laying 24 cents for it. They're going up against Jose Urena, and he's kind of had not a great season. And their bullpen.
That's a nice way to put
Rockies bullpen is
that is a nice way to put it.
I was trying to be nice, Jared, okay?
That was nice.
Offense. They're one of the hottest offenses in baseball this season. The projections show them getting about 7 runs in this game. And Urena gave up 9 runs to the Rangers in his last start in 1 1/3 innings pitched. The Braves' 8th hottest offense in the league this season. They have a 254 batting average. I can see them getting over this total easily. And they're playing in front of a home crowd here at Truist Park in Atlanta. So I feel pretty good about the team total at 5, with the projection showing 7. And if you hit 5, you push. Why not? Lock it in on that.
I like that a lot.
So those are my bets for today. Why the heck not? You know, we're having ourselves a Taco
I like that
Tuesday,
too, because Urena pitched for the Marlins for a number of years. So the Braves very familiar.
And they hate him.
Very familiar.
Yeah.
Remember all the times that he hit Acuna, like they hate his guts. So they're going to try to go out there and absolutely blast him, which is not particularly difficult.
Yeah, seriously though. Why not? Team total over 5, baby. Paul, thank you so much for coming on. We so appreciate your knowledge, your insight, and best of luck with your bets tonight.
Thanks, y'all. Have a good one.
Great
you
job,
too.
Paul.
That is Paul Sporer, writer for FanGraphs. All right, Jared, before we get into our best bets of the day, Pickswise.com, 3-star. Give it to me.
A lot of action today. Tanner McGrath. Hello, sir. He'll order a triple. He's got 3. I mean, it is a 3-star play, so why not have 3 of them on the site? He has 3 3-star plays on the site. One of them you're going to love. The other one, you might like a little bit. It's all part of that Mariners-Tigers game. He's got 2 picks on the Mariners-Tigers game. He's got 1 pick in the Brewers-Pirates game. And a shout-out, MLB Best Bets, winning streak now at 5 for the Pickswise baseball editors. We are heating up here at the end of August. I probably will be betting at least one of these because one of them is kind of in correlation with my Nerfy. And the other one is a juicy money line. So I'll let you dictate how you want to handle them, but I'll probably be tailing maybe one of these. But check it out, Pickswise.com, 3-star plays, Tanner McGrath.
Check it out, Pickswise.com. You don't want to miss out. Missing out on free money. Go check out Pickswise.com. Okay, getting into our best bets of the day. Paul talked about mine a little bit. It's the Royals White Sox, Royals money line at plus 115. The Royals are on the rise right now. They've been pretty competitive lately as a team, and I know they have a lot of young talent, but their offense is finally seeing some of these young guys being able to step up, break out, get some of these hits. They had 15 runs against the Padres on Sunday, which last time I checked, that's pretty good. They finished that series against San Diego with 23 runs total. And the White Sox, for me, have been one of the biggest disappointments in Major League Baseball this season. They haven't really lived up to their preseason hype. They're third place right now in the AL Central, and they've lost 9 of their last 11 games. Now you look at Kansas City. They've won 4 of the last 5 against Chicago, including the last time that Brady Singer was on the mound. And I know he's definitely the best pitcher in this KC staff. So give me the underdogs with a little bit of momentum. I feel like Singer's going to be able to pitch well against a Sox team that's struggling, especially their offense is struggling. They just need to get their offense, the Royals just need to get their offense going like they did against the Padres this weekend, get enough runs to pull this one out. But I feel pretty good getting this number at plus money, plus 115 Royals money line on a team that's been red hot recently. I don't think by any means they're a great team, but this is a little bit betting the Royals and their hot streak and a little bit betting the Royals and their hot streak and fading the White Sox and their kind of want streak that they've been on recently. So that's where that bet's coming from at plus money. Why not? And you're giving us another Nerfy, 3 Nerfies for the Let's Bet It crew today.
Let's go. I am tailing you on this Royals money line pick too, no doubt. Especially you and Paul both endorse full send there. So count me in for a unit on the Royals money line today. Okay, let's go to our nation's capital. Let's go to Washington. And yes, the Nerfy here, minus 110 at Caesars between the A's and the Nats. Now, when I look at Cole Irvin's Nerfy numbers, I get scared, chills up my spine, because he's under 500 to the Nerfy this season.
Yeah. And I'm losing control. Okay, I'm done.
Well, I didn't do a walk this way parlay, so you had to get your songs in.
It's okay. I had to get it out somehow.
It's okay. I fully support your treating our show like an American Idol audition. I fully support that. 11 and 12 for Cole Irvin to the Nerfy this year. That's not good. That's less than ideal, obviously, especially when the averages for Major League Baseball starting pitchers are around 70%, and he's sitting there at a 47.5% whopper. Short of a 50 burger, right? But again, I think context is important. When I look at his data, I see a batting average under 300. I see a whip under 1.5. I see an expected FIP significantly lower than his actual FIP. And I see a walk rate at 2%. So again, the data looks okay, but the Nerfy record is poor. There's a little bit of a mismatch there. So maybe what I'm hinting at is Cole Irvin's gotten a little unlucky in the first inning this year. And I think that's a fair assumption to make based off of the data. Eric Fetty's been fantastic, 16-4 to the Nerfy this year, 10-0 at home. Pitched 10 starts at Nationals Ballpark, hasn't given up a run in the first inning yet. And his data is, I would say, average-looking data. Walk rate's a little elevated, expected FIP's a little elevated, but it's not insanely elevated. And then I look at the lineups and I think to myself, yeah, this is a decent bet to make. Oakland's lineup to me is a sell, especially in the first inning. The top of that lineup is not great. And the Nats are terrible against lefties. Batting just 206 in August. They've got the 5th lowest WRC plus. So I get a bad Nats lineup against lefties. I get an A's lineup that's just awful. I have 2 pitchers, one below average, one above average. And I get both pitchers basically fresh looks against the opposing lineup. Irvin only has 8 plate appearances against the Nats. Fetty just 11 career plate appearances against this current A's lineup. And those all are things that I put into my Nerfies too. And I feel that it's a fair bet at -110. So that's where we're going play of the day. I would bet the same amount on all 3 Nerfies I'm giving you today. Again, play of the day doesn't mean bet more. It just means I had to pick one. and this is the one that we landed on. So that's the play of the day, Oakland, Washington, Nerfie, -110 at Caesars.
That's the play of the day. We hope you have a great day. Thanks so much for tuning in to Let's Bet It. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Jared Smith, Lauren Javara, best of luck with your bets, guys. Let's get it. Let's bet it.